Hey there, how you doing? And welcome to Weird Spins Vinyl Tag 2024, or 2025 I should say. It's still 2024 today. This is put out there by Pretty Green Vinyl Guy, and it looked like fun, so I'd like to go ahead and participate. My schedule is as such, though, that what I'm going to have to do, because when I am home, I either want to spend time with my family while everybody is awake, or I'm creeping through the door and trying to remain silent because the baby is asleep. So I'm going to try to do this from the field and utilize Discog images that come from my collection being registered there, because I do keep up with what I have there. So excuse me just doing drop-ins that way. If you see the thing with me holding it up in a picture here, or you see the thing in a picture in the corner or superimposed, I don't think it really makes any difference. At least it gives me an opportunity to participate and still have time for everybody else. And out here in the field with this job, like today, I'll be on charters, so I may have this client at a couple of different destinations and just be sitting in one spot waiting. I may as well take advantage of the time. So first question was best purchase of 2024. Anybody that knows me knows that my favorite film is Lucio Fulci's Zombie, known in other countries as Zombie 2 or Zombie 2, in UK as Zombie Flesh Eaters. And my favorite film score is the Fabio Frizzi score for that same film. This year I picked up the Zombie Composer's Cut by Fabio Frizzi. It's from Cadabra Records, and I got this beautiful opaque yellow and black vinyl swirl version of it. It is not the same as the actual music that appears in the film. What he has done is recognizing that with those films, the scores were kind of minimalistic. They were produced rather rapidly in a studio environment that they had very little time with, and had to work very quickly. And he had always wished that he had had more time to focus on them, expound on them. He has a lot of progressive rock influences as a composer, and he wanted to integrate that more. So the album utilizes all of the thematic elements of the score, but expounds upon them with a lot more densely original progressive rock elements and leads and flourishes throughout. And it's just really, really nice to hear what he's done with his band project, going into the studio and recording these new versions, which he's also been on tour performing live with the film for. So yes, that is my number one this year, my favorite thing from this year. Second question, 1974, 50 years later, an album that still holds up well, at least in my perspective. Dave Cousins, John Hawken, you probably know the rest. I'm going with Hero and Heroine by Strawbs. If you're not familiar with Strawbs' Hero and Heroine, I definitely recommend this album. Some elements of it are very, very romantic, with gigantic, almost orchestral sounding mellotron and delicate piano, vocals that are somewhere placed between, I guess, Peter Gabriel and Cat Stevens, poetic lyrics. Other parts of it go for the reach of going all over the place and having these crazy key signature changes one might expect from someone more like Gentle Giant. But it doesn't stay there. Most of it is very densely layered and almost symphonic and just really beautiful in quality. It's a stunning, stunning record, and it holds up incredibly well. Number 3, name an album that defines a genre. I only have one answer for that, and that would be Black Sabbath, Self-Titled. We had Hendrix, we had fuzz rock, we had proto metal before that, but that album was metal from the very first riff on those guitars, with the bell tolling underneath and the thunder sounds, the macabre element, the references to evil, the oppressive sound that's reminiscent of the Dies Irae. Ozzy's vocals being in a more of a guttural register and just howling out, "Oh no, God, please help me." That definitely defines what is heavy metal to me. Number 4, best band from my home country. Well, I was born in the United States. A lot of bands, a lot of eras, a lot that has happened in music here. I don't know how much of a writing contributor he is, and I don't know that I could particularly call it a band or more of almost a brand, because it started as a band and then moved on to being a solo project that has had many lineup changes over the years, and evolved in sounds and done many different things. But I'm going to go with Alice Cooper, because with Alice Cooper, there's been an almost consistent brilliance in the entertainment, in the hooks, and it's ranged from psychedelic to show tunes to songs like Crazy Little Child, which is essentially a ragtime piece, to just glam metal, to heavy metal, to horror and shock rock, and back again, all over. And every bit of it has been spectacular. And the man is, I believe, past 70 now. I saw him 2 years ago with my sister on the Detroit Stories tour, and the show is just as brilliant as it's ever been. So, and to show from my collection, because I have a collection of probably at least 20 Alice Cooper albums between CD and LP, but I'm going to go with showing, I have this wonderful Rhino edition of Billion Dollar Babies that was put out for Rocktober a few years back, and the thing is, I think, a little hard to come by now. Beautiful multicolor vinyl to match the Snakeskin album cover, and they reproduced all of the original elements on the interior, the inner sleeve lyrics, the giant bill tucked inside of it like it's a snakeskin wallet, the band photograph with the baby doll. It's all there, and it's a great pressing too. It sounds wonderful. Number 5, name an artist I miss dearly. I'm going to go with Keith Emerson, who was just one of the most remarkably gifted and talented musicians I have ever heard or at least witnessed on video in my life. I unfortunately did not get the chance to see him when I was young. They booked Emerson, Lake and Powell to come through Jacksonville, Florida, and that was the first stadium ticket I ever purchased in my life, and unfortunately a week or so before the concert it was canceled. And I don't think it was due to a lack of interest or ticket sales. I believe that he was already beginning to have difficulties with his hands at that time, and so the show was canceled. Suicide is not the answer for anybody that's watching this, because though I didn't know the man personally, he had family and he had people who loved him, and I'm sure that was probably a very traumatic event for all that were involved. It's tragic what he went through. I cannot fathom, I've lost the use of some of my left hand's nerves as a musician, and it's tough, and I work around it, but for him to lose such an incredible skill, and you could tell he just played so from the soul. I cannot imagine that would be like losing your sight or losing your hearing. It just would be devastating. So I'm sorry that he went through all of that, and it's just such a sad and tragic loss. When I first heard him was as a kid at the flea market picking up a copy of Tarkus, just because I was attracted to the album cover and was very curious about it. And that record legitimately changed my life. It showed me the endless possibilities of what music could be. And so I'm very grateful for that. It really shaped my interests as a musician in many regards, and in music. So over time, I probably got the whole ELP Studio catalog. And I also checked out The Nice, and I'm very fond of his work for films, especially the work that he did for Dario Argento's Inferno and for the Stallone film Nighthawks. Those are two really spectacular movie scores, and both actually pretty decent movies. What is the best live record in my collection? Oh, wow, there's so many good ones. I mean, we've got Deep Purple, we've got Opeth, I don't know. And there's stuff that I've gotten on video that I'm sure there are LP releases on the recordings, like the symphonic recording with Epica and things like that. But I'm going to go in a different direction with this because of sheer entertainment value, and I'm going to say Green Jelly Triple Live Mother Goose at Budokan. Maybe I got that title a little out of order or whatever. I have a crackly glow-in-the-dark version, and I'm absolutely fine with that because it's such a loud record and rambunctious record. It kind of overpowers the phosphorus electricity coming off of the wax. Because, yeah, any glow-in-the-dark record, for anybody that doesn't know, is not going to sound really great. But there's no getting around that. But they're fun. That album is so lewd, rude, crude, socially unacceptable, juvenile, delinquent, and vile that it's at moments hilarious, and I absolutely love it, especially Satan's Ham for some reason. It's just... I just love that record, and I think that I always will love that record. It's one of the most novel things in my collection, and hey, weird spins, okay? So there you go. Yep, Green Jelly Triple Live Mother Goose at Budokan. That's my pick for best live album in the collection. Number 7, your partner just dumped you. What album are you putting on? A very easy answer for me on this one, because I've been through a couple of really, really bad situations, we'll say, in the past. And so now I look at it as, if it ain't going to work out, it's not going to work out. You can try to fix a thing just so much, and if it's broken, it's irretrievably broken. And you could even put yourself in harm's way trying to do anything. Because the other person may not necessarily be okay. So I'm just going to say, just get the hell out of the way of the fallout. Weird Al Yankovic, Straight Out of Linwood. That's what I'm spinning. Weird Al Yankovic is an artist that I revere on about the same level as Alice Cooper. We have genre all over the place. This guy does originals and parodies, and his originals can be quite clear in what it is that they're mocking, be it Bacteria, which is kind of spoofing the sound of like Nine Inch Nails, but is an original, or Genius in France off of Poodle Hat, which is very clearly a take on Zappa, and it's an original. So hats off to just how amazing that he and his band are. Extraordinary artists, and the albums bring me joy. And Trapped at the Drive-Thru is a true story. Best sounding drums on an album. I was going to say Goblin Suspiria, but some of that stuff isn't really ordinary percussion. And it's more of a film score, so not everything is going to have that vibe. It's very cool, though, the percussion on that. So I'm going to go with Bloodywood, Rock Shock. If that's pronounced right, I don't know. I don't speak Punjabi. But wow, what an extraordinary album, combining hip-hop, metal, and traditional East Indian sounds. Percussion might be partly synthetic because of that hip-hop element. There's metal drumming in it, and there's also like traditional East Indian like water drums and things like that just have this extraordinary rich and vibrant sound. It's just a great record. Number 9, favorite artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. And I don't know if that has to be is, or if it's is or has been. Because I'll have to go is or has been, I believe, because otherwise I'd have to really think for probably days on this to figure one out that it's somebody that's active with 2 things at the same time currently. I'm going to say Devin Townsend, Frontline Assembly, Steve Vai, Strapping Young Lad, and then of course Devin Townsend Band, Devin Townsend Project, and just Devin Townsend. And a lot of little lineup changes and things going on along the way. Consistently just brilliant artist. One of my favorite artists of all time at present, up there with Keith Emerson. I look forward to every single thing he puts out. Absolutely everything. So I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and listen to Power Nerd straight through, but I'm looking forward to it very, very, very much. Beatles or Stones? Beatles. Stones are edgier. Stones have more of a hard rock and grit appeal. I'll give them that. Beatles were far more experimental, and they contributed to the foundation of progressive art rock, which is something that really has deeply impacted me. So just for putting Sgt. Pepper out alone, I'm going to say Beatles. That's enough for me to just say Beatles win, hands down on that one. 11. You found a bag of weed, and what are you listening to? I was tempted to go Black Sabbath again. By the way, I didn't mention it earlier, but my Black Sabbath first LP technically is on CD. I haven't picked up an LP reissue of it since starting to rebuild and restore a collection. My answer to this one, I am going to go in a different direction, and it's also going to be CD. I don't have an LP of this. There are LPs out there, but they're probably pretty hard to come by. Dead Can Dance, Within the Realm of a Dying Sun. I don't even know how to describe this album, this music, what it is. It's a duo, just a male and female duo, electronica, orchestrations, vocals, very smooth, not rock oriented, a little dark, a little maybe influenced by polytheistic theologies, I guess. Whatever it is that's going on, it's incredibly atmospheric and beautiful, and just it envelops you in a sound that is soothing. I mean, this is light some candles and get in the bathtub music. It's a big sound, but it's a sound that washes over you. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. Name an 80s album you still listen to. And I had to reach for a CD again that comes out frequently that I just love. It's soothing, relaxing, ambient kind of thing again. Sergei Blenner, La Dimension Prochaine. Really, really beautiful. You can probably pick one of these up on eBay for $2 or at Discogs. Really stunning music. Very airy, very picturesque in your mind. A mix of electronic and traditional sounding instruments. The opening piece alone, Euroville, is just absolutely stunning. This is genuinely beautiful instrumental music that must be heard to be fully appreciated. I can't really describe it and give it justice. Just pull a track up on YouTube, give it a listen, or through another streaming service, and believe me, you'll probably want a CD of this, especially because they're so incredibly reasonable to get. Name an artist whose political stance has soured you. I was hoping to avoid really getting into this on this channel because I did post one album and took it down just because I didn't want to sour people, but at this point I've soured and cut ties with enough people that I'll go ahead and say it. Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, Scott Baio, we'll just go, you can carry on from there. And yeah, Baio did a record. I'm sure it probably wasn't great. I've never really heard it, but it seems like probably not many people have. The other ones, a lot of people heard, but to me, that's not even politics. That's just personal values, which are entirely different. There's a difference between difference of opinions in politics and certain moral stances. And so I'm going to stand with where I stand, which is a viewpoint that I see as being on the right side of history, and we'll just let that go. And if you want to be angry at me over that and unfriend or whatever, I'm not here to talk that anyway. So that's the one question here that's like, thanks, gee. But yeah, I'll be quite honest about that, because yes, there's family that I've hit the delete button on. There's friends that I've hit the delete button on because the dude cannot abide is where it's at. The dude just cannot abide. Show a favorite record label. This one I'm a little lost on, because I don't know if you mean favorite as in a label that supports the artists that you appreciate, a label that the logo and design specific to the label you like the art on, or maybe a custom label that you like the art on. So I'm going to mention all three. Favorite label for supporting the artists or genres that I like, I'm going to go with Death Waltz, Mondo Death Waltz, because they have a lot of soundtracks by a lot of artists that I really appreciate. They do very nice pressings, beautiful packaging, all kinds of crazy colors of vinyl, occasionally picture discs, and I've really cherished everything that I've gotten from that label. So far as art that is label logo, I'll say classic 70s Virgin Records label. That's really neat out there artwork. So far as custom, I'm going to say Pink Floyd's Animals, with the A side having the sort of fisheye lens view of the dog and the B side of the sheep. That's a really neat label artistically, keeping in line with the full concept of that album. Name a run of 3 great singles, and I'll be honest, today I have the albums. I don't have a whole lot of singles. I have a couple of boxes of singles that are rescues, and most of it's either soul or kind of Muzak kind of stuff, and a few kids records and picture discs. But growing up, I had a lot of singles. I would buy caseloads of jukebox singles and bring them home, and they'd be nice and minty and still have the little cards in them for the juke display and everything. And that's where I first discovered Chicago. So I'm going to say that probably the first 3 Chicago singles that I latched a hold off of, Chicago 5 and Chicago 6 were in my collection. And of course, I no longer have these today, but they were great 45s. They were styrenes on the Columbia label, the orange Columbia label. Had Saturday in the Park, Just You and Me, and Searching for So Long. And those were just great ones. And there were a couple more that I had from that period. I think there was another one off of Chicago 6 that I had. Feeling Stronger Every Day. Yeah, that was on Chicago 6. So yeah, just amazing run of singles came from Chicago from like 1972 through 76 probably. They had quite a string of hits coming out. And that's my favorite period for them as a band as well, much more than the '80s period where it was pop ballads with less horns for Karate Kid movies, which are nice songs, but I don't know. It lacks that inner city vibe that I think is just so great about those early records. They have so much more mood about them. They're just really, really great, amazing, fascinating, brilliant albums, and everybody was tops in form on them. So yeah, that's like big band for headbangers, I guess, or something. That 70s era where we had groups like that, and Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and that was good stuff. Really good stuff. Name a record store day purchase that I still consistently listen to. Lalo Schifrin, Enter the Dragon soundtrack on a picture disc. It's got a tiny bit of ruffle, not much. It sounds pretty darn good, actually. Wow, that's a sharp looking picture disc too. Love the front collage art, the back with an actual photo of Bruce Lee, back cover with images of Bruce Lee and John Saxon. Funk, soul, orchestrations, outrageous 70s movie, grindhouse classic that became a huge international success, made a superstar out of Bruce Lee. Just wow. Yeah, that's probably top of my list for cool record store day things, you know. And honestly, I bought it after the fact. I've never ever been out shopping on a record store day. My work has always gotten in the way, so I've just not had an opportunity to do it. Usually if I see something cool's being released, I look for it after the fact on eBay or Discogs, or try to go direct to the label or whatever. If I could name any artist, dead or alive, that I could be reincarnated as, who would it be? I'm pretty satisfied with being me, although I wish I was a bit more of Means, you know, just because I'd like the security of being able to take care of my family more easily. You know, I can do without some of the things that I'd like to have in my collection, and I do without some things, you know, because we have responsibilities, and so you take care of the people that you love first. So far as it goes, a person who I'm sure left this world of Means. I don't know much about his personal life. I haven't had the opportunity to sit through the motion picture documentary about him yet, but I would say for the sheer artistry and the longevity of career, the incredible innovative moments in his musical forte, and being so remarkably prolific, Ennio Morricone. Because most people think of Ennio Morricone and they just think of the good, the bad, and the ugly. No. Ennio Morricone is also jazz, sometimes very experimental jazz. Check out the Giallo thrillers. Sometimes really sweeping, very Baroque era influenced themes, such as in The Mission. Sometimes these sort of majestic epic themes like Treasure of the Four Crowns. He did so much. Great composer and conductor, and his collaborations with Bruno Nicolai and the people in the industry, large and small, that I grew up just absolutely admiring their films that he worked on. That's just, to me, an incredible life and an incredible footprint in music that is just, he's legendary. It's something that you can dig through albums forever, and it's infinite, the amount of material that he produced. Every time you think that, well, that's it, you find something else. Wow. yeah, Ennio Morricone, just an amazing, spectacular, brilliant artist. Best 3 lines in a song. I don't have a CD. I don't have a record. But I'm giving it to a band that I find bands on YouTube and lots of artists on YouTube. Some of them are not published. This band is published. You can get CDs. I don't have CDs yet. I keep hoping they'll release vinyl. Psycho Stick, Bruce Campbell. I need measurements for your chin. I'm going to make me a jawbone implant, and I'm going to be your twin. That's great. They have so many great songs. NSFW is another one that's got at least 3 great lines. You can pick any 3 at random. I'll censor for here, but it's basically F-A-D, F-A-D, F, F-F, F-A-D, F-A-D, F, F-F-F-F, F-F-F, F-F-F-F, F-A-D, F, then ends with S. Brilliant artists, and math music all over the place, and very, very funny, and very, very original. An album I never tire of. The album that introduced me to progressive art rock as a child, and I already mentioned it at the beginning of this video. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Tarkus. It's been since I was 7 years old, so approximately 49 years of loving Tarkus, and no end of that appreciation for that album in sight. I can still put it on at any time, and it takes me to another world. All right, favorite vinyl community channel. Wow. I have to give a couple of honorable mentions. One, Tuco, we miss you. I know you're busy doing other things, and I wish you all the best of luck in all those things. I'd like to check out what you're doing with your band. But, you know, drop in and do a record drop online once in a while. That would be really killer, because we miss you out here. You were one of my first introductions into the vinyl community. JT's Record Room, shout out to you. Shout out to Recordology, who does turntable reviews, has a lot of appreciation for many of the same things I do: Disney records, vintage music, interesting phonographs, odd formats. He's a really great guy, and he and his wife right now would be in the middle of doing they do video blogs for the holidays, and they visit interesting sites throughout their area. Now they're in Orlando, so they see a lot of interesting sites every year, because I used to live up there. It's a really, really neat place. Shout out to Prague Hat, Edward at Prague Hat. He always does nice posts, and the Prague Corner. Very informative, and sometimes just alike opinions on things. I think I'd get along very well with Scott over there. Number 1, and has been for a little while, probably because he's almost, well, actually, he may be a little bit weirder than I am, and that's Brian over at Cosmic Vinyl. I just love that channel, and I look forward to a new video drop every single week. So yeah, there's my number 1 at the moment. And he's a really good guy. I've talked to him a couple of times. He's a really good guy. So show some support for all those guys. Absolutely every single one of them. And thank you for supporting me here. See you real soon. A quick postscript. That Vinyl channel did his video, uploaded a video that I ran into just yesterday, where he did a vinyl tag that was unique to soundtracks, and he had gotten the idea from another channel that he said was operated by a lady who since has retired the channel. I think it's a great idea, and it's one of the niches that I really deep dive into, especially for non-typical soundtracks. Case in point, that Enter the Dragon picture disc. So yeah, I think I'll be participating in that one soon if I am able to find the time, but it'll be at least a few days before I get it posted. So shout out to that guy as well, and we'll do a soundtrack vinyl tag here. Again, see you real soon.